Was this anticipated, this letter to the European Union, Bill?
No, not at all. The letter came from a top official at the Treasury Department, and it's the latest effort by the Trump administration to really put the pressure on Iran and enforce sanctions. And Europe, which has continued to support the nuclear deal President Trump pulled out of last year, has really tried to find a workaround to those U.S. sanctions. This latest letter from the Treasury Department makes it clear that any companies which work with this European workaround could themselves face sanctions that would be pretty debilitating. So the U.S. is ramping up its pressure. It's not really pressure just on Iran, but also on any European country that decides it still wants to do business with Iran.
Now, we know that Instix is one of the companies that the U.S. is actually naming. Do we have any more details on who the U.S. might sanction or how the U.S. might go about punishing Europe?
Well, Instix is it's actually this vehicle that was created to try to avoid using the U.S. financial system or using U.S. dollars to do business with Iran. The theory being, if you're a company based in Europe and you wanted to do trade with Iran, you would work with Instix to almost in a way barter with Iran to get goods in and out and to keep your company doing business. What the U.S. letter today from the Treasury Department makes clear is that even if you're avoiding the U.S. financial system and using dollars, you could still face U.S. sanctions for doing so. And the rationale the U.S. has is that a lot of the entities you would be working with in Iran already face U.S. sanctions, so you would be doing business with essentially blacklisted companies.
Briefly, Bill, any reaction from Europe yet? Who might respond? What do we anticipate?
Well, I think we're looking closely for reactions from the French, German, and UK governments because they're the ones who have worked the hardest to try to find a workaround to U.S. sanctions on Iran. They're the ones who want to keep this deal alive, and they're really the ones that the Trump administration is trying to put the pressure on.